Hello and welcome to the reading for the week for February 15th to the 22nd. Sorry, 22nd to the 29th. I'm a week behind. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I'm about to do a reading for the highest and greatest benefit of anyone whose life this touches and anyone who is requiring it at this time. I call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all those listening to be present to facilitate this exchange and ensure that it happens in the highest and best way possible for the highest and greatest good of all concerned. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that is most needed and to provide that in a manner that will be easily and effortlessly heard, understood, and integrated for the collective greater good and well-being of all the individuals who are listening at this time. I call upon the four archangels to come and hold the four directions around us, creating a sacred container of light, of love, of wisdom, of clarity, of empowerment, of healing, of transformation, indeed of anything that is in our collective heart and mind at this time for the coming week. Anything that doesn't match these frequencies of light and love is welcome to go now. So let's jump to it, shall we? I'm hoping you are all well and thriving despite any adversity you might be facing. Okay. So, recent past, the influence is waning, but it continues into our present and into our future. We have the Tower. The ending of the old, the destruction of that which is no longer in integrity, that which no longer serves us, the falling down of old institutions and structures and power dynamics. We're moving away from the dynamic of power over. We're moving away from the dynamic of dominance, of power over others, and we're moving more into the energy of collaboration and community and working together and being treated equally, and the needs of all of us being taken into account. So the existing dynamics that have been in play for a long, long time are slowly crumbling. And so we'll be seeing lots of continued rumbles as these things continue to unwind. And it'll be interesting because, of course, many of these things that are falling down are sacred cows, things that we don't want to look at seriously or are afraid to look at. Like a medical model, that's based on information that really hasn't been brought into the present. I'm thinking in terms of the innate immune system and understanding how we live in a sea of viruses and bacteria, and rather than thinking that we're a sterile environment inside of us. And so there's something about that, that paradigm, the medical paradigm or the pharmaceutical paradigm of medicine that we've been involved in for a long time, that is going to start to unravel because it simply doesn't work with nature. It works against nature. Like so many of the structures that we've created as humanity, it's sort of this power over dynamic rather than this working with, collaborative energy with. So this is the energy that we're continuing to see. This is continuing to unravel. The lightning bolts of truth are coming down to earth, and the old structures are being dismantled. The financial system would be another area. Governance, even structures that of power that are actually quite corrupt and needing to be revamped and looked at again. There's an energy around all of this that's happening. I don't know to what extent they'll be redone or renovated, but certainly this is part of the energy that is up at this time. And so for us personally as well, old beliefs, old truths, old things that we've held on to that need to be really brought to our attention, and can be brought to our attention quite dramatically and quite suddenly. And then as a result of the awareness that comes from these revelations, being able to make new decisions as the structures that were in place have been brought down to their foundations, and we need to build from scratch something that is in integrity, something that is truthful and honest and congruent with the energy of this time and with our personal energies and who it is that we want to be on the planet. Present energy, holding, possessiveness. This is something that, this holding on to something and this holding on to these old structures because it's all we know, or it's what we're familiar with, or it's what we've come to accept. So there's this energy of holding in our present environment, and this sort of fearful looking around and who's coming for my stuff. Pentacles has to do with material things, and so this energy sitting in our present environment is this kind of holding on to what's familiar, holding on to what we know, holding on to security, whatever that represents to us. And the invitation here is to really reevaluate this. Is it really providing you with the security that you believe it is? Is this really what this is all about? You know, what is it telling you how you're being about your attachment in life? So, you know, getting curious, this stepping back and looking at life from a curious place. I mean, this is what science is truly about, isn't it? It's looking at life curiously and questioning everything and looking at everything. And so in a similar vein, in our present environment, we have the same invitation to question, to look at things, to question ourselves. Why are we holding on to this? Why do we have this belief? Is it true? Is it serving me? And potentially, how do we lighten up our hold on these things and allow ourselves to broaden out and soften and have a wider focus and a wider awareness, so that we can move in the best direction possible, rather than being stuck and stagnant, holding on to the old, even though it's probably no longer serving us. Near future, the energy of opposition. So we have a woman who is holding something precious in a gloved hand close to her heart while she fends off the swords with her bare hand. So there's something here about carrying something precious and feeling this need to defend, which, you know, in the context of this makes sense. This sort of holding on to what's precious against the energies of the outer world, against the energies of the external and the judgments of society and the attack. I mean, you know, the energy has been very, for those who are speaking out against the status quo, who are providing a different perspective or saying, hey, maybe we need to look at this. They're often attacked and vilified and condemned and labeled as I don't know, conspiracy theorists, other things, unscientific. You know, they're made a mockery of or ridiculed. For those who have been jeopardizing their careers to step up and to say, hey, something's not right here, we need to look again. So this energy is going to continue into our near future here, this energy of opposition. And yet, despite the opposition, we will continue to move forward and to hold on to what's true and important in our hearts, and fend off the attack, fend off the incoming opposition, and continue to move forward. She's moving forward despite the incoming and the energy. She's still moving forward. She's protecting what's valuable to her. She's moving in the direction of what's best for her, despite this incoming energy from the outside. So just sort of staying mindful and aware of these things. Again, curiosity is a soft, open energy. It's an energy that helps us to not take ourselves or the world quite so seriously, and to stay open and keep the possibility space flowing, so that we can take in whatever we need to take in to create the solutions that we need to have. Because again, if the power structures are not serving us, then those need to change. If those dynamics are no longer serving us, they need to change. And so, yes, it's going to be difficult. That's what we knew. We're moving away from it. So rather than holding on, it's time to soften, open up, get curious, get expansive, look at the possibility. Keep on holding on what's valuable to us, close to our heart, because that's important. That which is close to our heart, our values, the things we love, those are important, and that's what we need to bring into our future, despite the judgment of others. Okay, the foundation of the reading, why we're having the reading this week. We have the energy of the Emperor. So the Emperor is a major arcana. Major arcanas are pay attention cards. You want to notice where they are in the spread and also recognize that this particular area is indicating an area of growth, of expansion, of becoming more than you were, of spiritual evolution, if you want, or soul evolution. So this is the foundation card for the reading this week. We have the Emperor. Now the Emperor sits on his wide throne at the base of the big mountain. He's very grounded. He's very rooted. He's a number 4. 4s are very stable. So there's this very great energy of stability, of capability, of magnanimous energy, of seeing the bigger picture. The Emperor is the quintessential patriarch. He looks out into his empire and he sees the resources, he sees the people, he sees the possibilities, he sees all of it. And he deliberately intends and chooses how to implement and make best use of those resources for the greatest good. So this is the energy of the foundation for our reading this week, is this energy of broad-mindedness, of magnanimous use of resources for the collective well-being, for the greater good, leveraging people's skills and talents, leveraging resources in a good way, making wise decisions that benefit the collective, and in a very stable way, in a way that doesn't rock the boat, but in a way that really moves everybody forward in a good way, and very much connected to the earth, very much in harmony and sympathy with the planet. Again, this energy of co-creation rather than domination and submission. How we need to conduct ourselves this week. Card of generosity, the 6 of Pentacles. So once again, we're being called to keep our hearts open, our minds open, to shine our gifts, to be of service to each other, to show up for each other. Acts of love, acts of kindness, acts of sharing of resources, whatever it is that calls to you, your particular version of generosity. What does that look like, and how do you be that in your experience so that you can share yourself and what you're here to give in a beautiful way, and gift the planet, gift life, add to life from your presence. I posted a really great recording about something on this topic that a girlfriend of mine addressed on my Tarot with Titania face. Actually, I didn't post it there. I will post it there so that if those who are interested can go. Tarot with Titania on Facebook. Gina Mollicone was talking about this idea of how do we be in service to life? How do we bring our gifts to life and add to the collective experience rather than diminishing it? Being a plus rather than a minus. And this is the energy of generosity. This is what the energy of this card is all about. And it's sitting in how we need to conduct ourselves. So it is about us getting our feet on the floor and saying, how am I going to be of service today? How am I going to bring more life to life? How am I going to channel life through me in a good way to add more beauty, more love, more light, more healing, more kindness, more wonder to this beautiful planet and those I share it with? So that's our work for us. This is how we need to be. We need to keep opening our hearts, showing up, and sharing our gifts. How others are going to be, the card of planning. Wow, this really ties in with our Emperor here. So this energy of long-sightedness. So this card is all about a shepherd, and he's climbed the top of the highest peak in his vicinity, and he's looking at the landscape all around, and he's evaluating what is the best direction to take his flock in. So this energy, planning, it's one, so it has to do with creativity, inspiration, and passion. It has to do with the suit of fire, that kind of life-giving energy. And so the energy of others, and because this is a collective reading, this can be our leaders, this can be other people in our lives that we're related to, this can be us in relation to other people, but this is how others are going to be. And it's this energy of planning, of looking out into the landscape and saying, okay, now what? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? Where do we want to go? And you see these beautiful flowers on the ends of the wands, these incoming wands of inspiration are blooming. And so, yes, we are coming through a very tumultuous time, and we have a lot of work to do on this planet to clean up the mess left by the lockdowns of the pandemic. We need good planning. We need the vision of understanding that we're all in this together, and how do we craft our future? How do we plan our direction collectively so that it's for the highest and greatest benefit of everyone, including the planet and all of her residents, not just humanity? We really need conscientious, intentional thought, and being open to divine inspiration as well as to how we're going to field this. These old paradigms falling away are part of our new ability to respond to life and move in a good way. There are lots of good people who've been working a long time holding different pieces of the puzzle. They're coming forward. The information is coming forward now because we need it. Collectively, we're calling it into being. And those amazing individuals who have the pieces of the puzzle are coming forth, and they're providing the solutions. So stay open, stay curious, and stay in your heart. Stay in your gifts and your energy. The outcome is joy. It's a lovely card. We have 3 children who are playing together. 2 of them are carrying the other little one. And they're just enjoying life. There's this beautiful simplicity and ease that comes with this card. It's very, very light and delightful. I think of a summer's day where there's just sunshine and fun to be had. This is the outcome. This is the energy that we're moving towards, is more of this ease, more of this well-being, more simplicity, more fun. And I want to just throw this out into the arena that our recovery, our movement forward, yes, there's some heaviness still dealing with this old and the dinosaurs that won't go away and who still kick up a fuss, and it's challenging, but we're moving towards this energy, and that this transformation that we can bring to the planet as we show up with our gifts and with our solutions, with our offerings to transform life and add to life and build on the beauty of life, collaborating with rather than dominating over, will be through joy and simplicity and well-being. This change and transformation can be a beautiful, easy, uplifting, positive experience for us. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to mean hardship. It doesn't have to mean suffering. It can mean beauty and unfolding and significance and meaning and collaboration and working with nature rather than our fear, I think collectively, that we're just going to get more of the same and it's going to be worse because, it seems that there's a handful of people who are running the show and they have a lot of money. But ultimately, we, the collective of humanity, are the ones who are driving the boat. We forget that because we're being narrated to by a media that works for that small group. It's really... It's really like the deck, it seems so many ways stacked against us, but we have to remember that we as individuals, coming from our heart, coming from our love, coming from our generosity, coming from this space of goodness and the greater good of all, and this energy that grounds us. This is the foundation. This is the energy and the set point of the reading. This energy of collaboration and for the greater good of all. This is the energy and the set point on the planet at this time, astrologically, frequency-wise, etc. And this old stuff is an aberration. It's the old. It's what's going. It's holding on, possessiveness. It's holding on for dear life and trying to dig its heels in and not have the change and transformation that is sweeping energetically first and then into the field of the reality and the physical reality that we experience. But it's inevitable. This is the way we're going in. Our hearts are opening. Our minds are opening. We're getting curious. We're getting wise. We're looking at nature for solutions. We're finding wonderful solutions already exist. We're finding out that these dominant patterns that we've had, that we thought were serving us, were not serving us anymore. And we need new ways of being in body, mind, and spirit in the world. The medical model, the financial model, the education model, the work world. I mean, let's face it, there are many, many areas which are going to be getting a major overhaul. And we're on it. We're on it. We know what's important to us. We're willing to defend what's important to us. We're willing to be open in our hearts and be generous with who we are so that we can bring our wonderful solutions to the table. We're going to plan. This is how others are and how we are in the world of others. We're planning. We're looking out at the world and going, right, okay, what's next? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do it well? And together we're going to transform this, and it's going to be light, and it's going to be fun, and we're going to do this in a good way, because that's the energy set point that's underlying all of us at this time. Work doesn't have to be hard. Work can be a lot of fun. And the work of transforming our planet and moving it in beautiful new directions and healthy new directions, in heart changing, life giving directions, it's what's in all of us. It's what we're being called to. It's what the energy set point is at this time. So trust that. Get into your heart and flow your gifts, whatever that means for you, because you're a unique individual and you have something special to give to the world and to life, and you're the best one to know how to do that. All right, my friends, that looks like the reading for this week. Don't let the heaviness get to you. It's just part of the process. It's part of what's happening for us. It's part of how we're being transformed and how life is being transformed. And it's good. Those things that don't serve us are going away, and we're going to rebuild in a beautiful new way, in the right way, for our time, for the greater good of all, in collaboration with life, in harmony and adding to life, not in dominating and constricting and power over. Okay, let's pull our card for the week. Our card to grow on. So what is it that we most need to take away this week? What do we need to bring with us as we move forward? I mean, that generosity of spirit, I think, is pretty strong. Allowing ourselves to be the gift that we are to life, and to show up in the way that we're being called to show up, to speak up, to share our gifts. And your gift might be simply to express a concern about what's happening in your field, things that concern you, that need attention. We have so many examples of this, from 5G, the vaccines, all kinds of stuff. It's like there are bits and pieces that need our attention, because the solution isn't completely there yet. We're sort of in between. And we need many voices at the table to come up with the best solutions for the greater good of all. But set your intention to be a clearing, a channel for the light, a channel for love, a channel for the greater good of all. By setting that intention, you'll know that your inspiration and the inspirations that come to you are in alignment with that vision. So if you truly want to be a change maker and a way shower on the planet, hold that intention in your heart as you start your day and as you go about your day. And let it lead you. Okay, so this card to grow on for this week. Oh, we have the High Priestess. Another major arcana. So the High Priestess, she's a symbol for the collective consciousness. She's also a symbol for the elements of the feminine that we're not altogether comfortable with. It's sort of the psychic, the intuitive, the occult, the hidden, that which is not obvious, but is still part of the picture. The moon she's part of the symbol of the priestess. Again, it's this collective consciousness energy. It's the collective subconsciousness, the fact that we're all connected underneath, and we're all part of one big, massive energy, and we are each unique expressions of it, but we forget that we're connected. And this energy for the coming week, our card to grow on, is to start to embrace our intuition, to start to embrace those aspects of ourselves that our culture isn't entirely comfortable with. It's starting to be, though. I mean, you look at how things are coming to the front. I mean, even me doing these tarot readings, tarot, astrology, numerology, those different aspects of hidden wisdom, Kabbalah. I mean, there's so many channels of wisdom, of knowledge that are considered secret or considered hidden because it hasn't been safe or comfortable necessarily or permissible, or there's been a lot of judgment around owning this aspect of ourselves. But this is part of our way forward as humanity, is tapping into this wisdom, this inner collective consciousness, this field that we're all part of, and pulling it through into our leveraging it, using it to inform us, using it to help us, using it to guide us as we move forward collectively in a good way. So what does this mean? This is our card to grow on. This means let's make friends with this part of ourselves. I've been having a number of conversations with people lately about understanding how to tap into this. And one thing, some people are familiar with biofeedback, muscle testing. So that's one way to ask a question and have your body tell you what the answer is. Some people like to do it by, making a loop. And if the loop stays strong, it's yes. And if it's weak, it's a no. That's not my preferred way, but there are many, many different ways. I'll see if I can find some resources to put in the links below. But a pendulum is another way. They're simply tools. They're ways of learning to tap into the innate wisdom that's within us. Our bodies have wisdom. We have access to a collective field of wisdom. There are many different levels of wisdom. And so there's ways to just start to familiarize ourselves with this energy and to start to leverage this, to just become more aware of our own intuition, our own connection to this broader field, and to bring this more into our everyday experience. So that's our work for this week. That's our card to grow on, is this learning to tap into the collective wisdom, learning to tap into our intuition, learning to tap into the power of intention. That's very important. You start with your intention, and that becomes the blueprint through which you're pulling life through you by setting out to do what it is that you want to do clearly, like I do at the beginning of the reading. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that is most needed at this time, and to provide that to you in a manner that you will easily and effortlessly hear, understand, and integrate for your highest and greatest benefit. That is my intention before I start any of these readings, whether that's private or collective like this one here. So that's an indication of how an intention can work. So leverage those aspects: power of intention, the power of intuition, the power of the sacred, the power of the collective consciousness, tapping into the sacred feminine and making it part of us, embracing it, letting it become part of our collective story, the sacred mother. Well, my friends, that is the reading for this week. Go forward, be generous, connect with your wisdom, shine your light brightly, and be the star that you are. I love you all. I wish you well, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care.